Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Get in the Garage.
We're a music podcast.
For music lovers.
We have a great show planned, as always, today. But before we begin, please remember to like and comment and subscribe and share the podcast with all your friends, your family, and most importantly,
Share it with somebody that has a dog.
dog owners. No love for the cat owners?
Maybe that's another time. Right
Oh,
now,
okay.
Fuck cats.
Fuck cats.
fuck ancient nobility.
Fuck ancient nobility. Yes. Well, so tell a dog owner. There you go. What are we talking about today, Luke?
Well,
give us the rundown here.
I will tell you, we have music news. Like always, stay informed. Then we have two brand new album reviews. We have the new album from Paramore, This Is Why. We're going to review it, tell you what we think, and then we have This Stupid World by Yo La Tengo. And that's it. Roll the theme song, Alex.
Roll the music. Yeah,
Get in the garage. Somebody roll up a garage door. You'll hear it right now. Wow. What a time.
I'm a master impressionist.
Very spiritual.
Very spiritual. Come on, man.
I'm not going there.
I have to find somebody with a podcast that talks about trauma, and I'll tell that story. Anyway.
All right, fellas. Some RIPs.
Yes.
RIP to the legendary songwriter Mr. Burt Bacharach.
Mr. Burt Bacharach.
He died last week, I believe, when we were taping this show. So some late breaking news. 94 years old. Burt Bacharach famously wrote tons of hit songs in the soft la da da era of the
So
60s. Great music. Do you guys have any thoughts on Burt Bacharach?
Yes. Well, first of all, let's shout out probably all of our first introductions, at least me and Michael.
For
Austin
sure.
Powers.
Oh yeah, me too.
In a big way. Love that. And Donnie Warwick, or, really a standout artist, and all the songs. And
Yeah, he was Dionne Warwick's main songwriter for her career, pretty much. You guys want to take a guess? How many top 40 hit songs did Burt Bacharach write the music for?
Oh, I'm going
How
to
many
guess.
top 40 songs?
Top 40 hits.
I'm going to guess 57.
I'll go 63.
73
Whoa.
top 40 hits.
73?
73. He won 3 Academy Awards. He won for Best Score and Song for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. The song was Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
Oh, okay.
And then he won again for Best Song for the Arthur's theme in the early 80s. If you get lost between the moon and New York City. He was one of the songwriters on that. And yeah, just a soft rock master, that chamber pop thing, that twisty, strange key changes. Some hits, Close to You by the Carpenters. There's always something there to soft brasses on everything.
Yeah.
What's New Pussycat, Tom Jones. I Say a Little Prayer, which was a Dionne Warwick, and then Aretha Franklin. And That's What Friends Are For, another late Dionne Warwick hit. Some of my favorites. And he wrote the music, his lyricist, Hal David, for most of his career, up until I believe the late 70s. And then he worked with his wife at the time, Carol Bayer Sager.
Yeah, that video, I think, did you share it with us in the Instagram chat, or somebody shared it or whatever, where he's...
Jeff shared it. It was him composing the song, or conducting the song.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it's Kathy.
Yeah.
After his daughter.
Yeah, and his daughter who passed away, right?
Showing him in the studio, just
it was so
arranging live, and the band, the orchestra, the strings are all playing it, and he's talking through give this emotion bigger here, and very cool.
My favorite part of that little video was there's he almost doesn't he's critiquing and doing all this stuff the whole time, and then for a little second section he goes, "Oh, that's nice," and then it just keeps going, but it's very, very fun.
Yeah.
Cool
Great
music, man. And just look up go on Spotify, look up Burt Bacharach. There's playlists. Look up the Dionne Warwick stuff. Dionne Warwick. I keep saying it anymore.
I do it every time. I can't.
Dionne,
not
Warwick.
Donnie. I always say Donnie Warwick.
And Dionne Warwick, because of his songwriting, maybe she was a huge star in the '60s. I looked up the numbers. I've forgotten, but she had 40 top 40 hits herself.
Very big artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd also like to, if we're shouting out people that do Burt Bacharach songs that we love, Isaac Hayes does my favorite versions of Burt Bacharach songs. I'll Never Fall in Love Again, and
Walk On By.
Walk On By. It's so much good, stuff, and They Long to Be Close to You. He does a lot of Burt Bacharach tunes, and they're my favorite versions to listen to.
The king of schmaltz, but in a good way, like a cigar and a turtleneck, and you're in a 1970s like padded, like carpeted living room.
That's why I like
suits.
listening to it. It really like transforms you into this time and place and this idea of what like music was and can still be, and it's just very it's very far away from where we're at in pop music today, but just such like a wonderful journey, and
and interesting timing too, because he's got that box set coming out with him and Elvis Costello. That's supposed to be coming out, I think, next month. I believe it was in the month of March.
I believe so.
Yeah. So rest in peace, man. Yeah. Great songwriter.
Burt Bacharach.
Great songwriter. We have more RIPs? No?
Yeah, another RIP. One of the members of De La Soul, Dave, the Dove, Plug 2, Trugoy, passed away this week, 54 years old after a long battle with congestive heart failure. De La Soul, March 3rd, their catalog will be available for purchase. Please go support those artists. Famously, none of their music has been available on streaming or iTunes ever. I remember they did a dump on their own website. I think I was in college, and they were like, for this week only, as a middle finger against all the record labels that are suing us, all these sample clearance issues, download all of our stuff for this week for free. And I download their entire catalog.
Yeah.
But they have just never been streaming because they have all these legal battles because of their sampling.
Well, he was also a very prolific sampler and brought that into the hip-hop culture and really was the antithesis of why people slowed down their sampling in the later 90s because of all those issues. But, so legendary beatmaker. It's why I own a CD copy of 3 Feet High and Rising. Great record.
A great MC. Him and Paz, underrated MCs. They got their shine. A decade ago, I think they were the featured artists on Feel Good Inc. by the Gorillaz. Go check out the stuff on March 3rd when it comes out. And it sucks. I mean, timing is, but it sucks that he died right when this stuff's about to happen.
Yeah.
But hopefully it'll bring them back into the legacy of hip hop and be a more understood group because of all this. So
yeah, for
54.
Sure. Yeah, 54, yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. Do we have any more RIPs? Or
I do not.
Shall we move on to some other music news? I've got a little piece that I think is pretty fun and funny.
Let's hear it.
T-Pain announces a covers album.
Awesome.
I did see this.
He'll be covering Black Sabbath, Journey, Chris Stapleton, and more. I think he released the track listing, so A Change Is Gonna Come, Don't Stop Believin', Sharing the Night Together, Stay With Me, Tennessee Whiskey, That's Life, and to finish it off, he's doing War Pigs, which
Nice.
I think is really interesting and a lot of fun. I feel like T-Pain kind of...
Did you see what the big twist was?
What's that?
His
No auto-tune.
No auto-tune. His natural voice.
Oh, I did
He
not
won
see
The
that.
Masked Singer a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And
That's,
a lot of these songs are similar or the same ones he covered on that show.
he released a statement that says, "This covers album has been years in the making. I started recording this right after I won The Masked Singer. It got put on hold for a bit, but now now that I'm independent, I'm able to do whatever I want to do through Nappy Boy Entertainment, and this is something I've felt strongly about for a long time. These songs are not what you'd expect to hear. That T-Pain is doing a covers album, and that is what I think is cool about it. So I'm looking forward to hearing this record. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
The
T-Pain,
Tiny Desk was cool.
that was like the real impressive thing, and I
Yeah.
remember seeing that, and I was like, T-Pain did a Tiny Desk?
He has a great voice.
And
Yes.
he's a phenomenal singer, man.
I mean,
really great.
His thing with all the auto-tune and that is like ushered in this new sound in hip-hop. But like The Masked Singer shows like his natural voice is better than most other people's voices.
Yeah.
Like,
And he seems like a very, very nice person, too. I've seen interviews with him and stuff. He's like very humble, down-to-earth guy. Like, he seems really cool.
Agreed.
Yeah.
We wish you luck, T-Pain.
Yes. All the luck to T-Pain.
Did you guys see? I'm going to bring it up because we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
The Pink Floyd drama ensues.
Boo, this man.
boo this man. Roger Waters, the man we are booing, has re-recorded Dark Side of the Moon
I don't believe this.
in
I don't
its
believe it.
entirety. Supposedly.
I don't want to believe it.
No release date has been issued yet, so this might never see the light of day, though it was showed to a Telegraph journalist. So that's interesting. The journalist said, but surprisingly, Waters seems to have decided that what was wrong with the original album's beautiful instrumental tracks was that they didn't have enough versions of him talking over them. Now they do. Though he did give praise to some of the re-recordings, and I'm not opposed to re-recorded albums in a later time. I think that's interesting. I think it's cool. It shows how you've aged into the music. This album, though, I think is done out of spite, which is why I probably will not listen to it. He very much trashed his former band members, saying that it was my idea, it was my album, I'm just going to do this. I am paraphrasing, but it was pretty much to that statement, and that his other band members in Pink Floyd did not have any original ideas and did not contribute much, which I would hate to disagree with, because most of that, a lot of that album's instrumental. There's no words to it. So to claim that it's your sole idea is a very strange thing, seeing that you are not a keyboard player or a Moog player or a drummer
Or a guitar player. Well, sort of guitar player.
But besides all those things, that's what's going on there. I will point my personal statement as this. If I had the option to look at the Mona Lisa or look at a copy of the Mona Lisa right next to each other, I would obviously look at the Mona Lisa original every time.
Well,
so that's how I will put that.
In true Get in the Garage fashion, hey, Roger Waters. There you have it. All right.
Up next.
I have more in petty news.
Okay,
Let's hear it.
get
Petty
it.
So
news.
I missed it. I wasn't on last week's recording, but so this happened a little over a week ago. But Steve Albini started a Twitter battle against the followers of Steely Dan.
Yo, we went hard on this last
Oh,
week,
you
and we
did?
danned it down, bro. We talked about how funny it was, but how crazy it was.
I don't know if this was stated again, but I would just like to state, if it hasn't already.
Please, Jeff's thoughts.
But in the Steve Albini long thread where he said, "I'll always be the kind of punk that shits on Steely Dan," one of the great things I loved reading, he said, they spent 3 weeks on the guitar solo, 3 weeks of watching guitar players give it their all while doing bumps and hitting the talkback. More Egyptian, but keep it in the pocket.
It's one of the funniest
So
things
funny.
that's ever been said
Also-
about Steely Dan.
And here's the thing about Steve Albini. Steve Albini, you are the character in a Steely Dan song. You're a 60-year-old guy who used to make noise music who plays in World Series of Poker games. You are, like, Steely Dan couldn't write a song about you. It's too on the nose. Like, you are Deacon Blues. Like, you are that song. Like, take a chill pill.
I just want to say on
love
the
it.
Stereo Gum Instagram post about this, I commented Deacon Blues over here,
Yeah.
which was,
And then
my thoughts.
St. Vincent weighed in and she said, for the record, I fucking love Steely Dan. So,
Steve Albini.
We covered this last week, and we were like, we almost called you to have you just like come in on the takedown. We feel the same way. It was
love
very
it.
funny.
I loved his other comment too. That was something about like
Boz
they keep talking about the
Yeah.
let me find it. I gotta read it.
The Boz Skaggs comment?
No, not Boz Skaggs.
I think Boz Skaggs is
The
cool,
other one he
too.
says there's some video where they talk about every song on an album, and each one begins with the not bald one saying, "This song is based on my deep love of the blues, just a very bluesy blues, deep blues." Then laces jazz dork hands on the fucking electric piano.
Well, unless he opens his mind
love
and
it.
learns to play the fucking
Oh, I
theremin.
love it.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
I love it.
Yes, this is this kind of music news is what this podcast is
Yeah.
predicated on.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
I have some more petty news. As a matter of fact, fucking Morrissey came out and decided to be a big old bag of dicks
Morrissey.
too.
Oh,
So last week we
Morrissey.
talked about Sam Smith and how the performance at the Grammys was being dubbed satanic by all the right, media and all that kind of stuff. And Morrissey chiming in, giving an opinion that no one gives a shit about, had to come in and say, quote, Capitol Records proudly promotes Sam Smith's Satanism, yet they consider the honest truth of Morrissey's factual bonfire of teenagers to be their biggest threat, and they will not release it despite their contractual obligation and promise to do so. fuck off, Morrissey is really all I have
Morrissey's
to say.
just mad that Sam Smith gained 25 pounds and now Morrissey isn't considered the fat good singer.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Killing it.
Killing it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like, dude, why does Morrissey always just have to say like, it's like just go home. Just go home, Morrissey.
Yeah, I'm all aboard. Morrissey, finish a concert and maybe someone will release your albums. That's how I feel about that too.
Everybody has always suggested get into the Smiths. I get into 15 seconds and then that jackass starts singing and I immediately turn it off. My whole life I've wanted to get into the Smiths. Release instrumentals, please, so I can enjoy the music. I hate that dude's voice.
I am a huge Smiths fan, but I just don't listen to anything that man says.
It's hard to like anything when the lead singer's just a complete asshole. So there you go. There you have it.
All right, I don't have any more music news. We could talk about Super Bowl music news.
Oh,
yes.
Let's do this.
So, at Super Bowl this past Sunday, some musical performances. We had Babyface sang "America the Beautiful."
Yes.
Strumming a guitar, not playing the guitar at all. Strumming a guitar. It sounded fine. He's 60 years old. He sounds okay. He's Babyface. He's a legend from the 90s. I don't know. Different time.
Me and Michael just discovered who Babyface was this week, and we have fallen deeply in love.
Yeah, check out the Babyface Unplugged record. That's not unplugged.
None of it's unplugged.
That's fully plugged.
And then other singers, Cheryl Lee Ralph, who is on Abbott Elementary, who is a known Broadway star for the past 30, almost 40 years probably. She sang Lift Every Voice and Sing, which is considered to be the unofficial Black national anthem. Sounded beautiful. Great singing. Mr. Chris Stapleton sang the national anthem, which was, I thought, really cool. Really, I don't know if tasteful is, I don't know, but like I thought he sounded really good. And everything he added as his own little flair I thought was nice. He has just the sickest voice. And I don't think they do any of that singing live really anymore because they always have tracks in case things go down.
Yeah.
But just one of the coolest voices. He's like the Otis Redding of our era. Like one of those voices you could just sing the telephone book and it sounds, what's a telephone book? Nobody knows. It doesn't exist anymore.
He can sing your text messages to you.
And then the halftime show was Rihanna, who came down like she was in Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
And like about to like boing over and hit a toadstool and did the medley, 15 minutes, whatever it is of probably 10, 12 hits.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
I
Adorned
liked it.
in red.
She had a million dressed in white dancers like
gyrating.
I liked the army of dancers. I liked when she like put on the makeup real fast, so the dancer gave her in the middle of it. I kind of liked how the performance was a bit understated this year, as opposed to being like this big star-studded, like tons of people blow out. You have guests, all that stuff. It really, I think, helped to focus on Rihanna's superstarness and how powerful she is as an artist. And this album that's in the works, that's getting teased in the new Vogue interview. I think this is all building to it. I think this show did a great job for her. And like all those songs were mega banger hits, all of them. Because I'm a casual fan, and every single, I was like, oh yeah. And it was really exciting to hear. So
I like the super mix thing where they kind of sped up a lot of the songs and made it all just kind of like one big club mix, continuous like 12-minute thing. So many hit songs. Like she is, as far as like dancey pop music goes, she is the best of our generation of the past 15 years.
Yeah,
I agree. And very, very consistent in like because I was like, we went from Umbrella to everything in between in there, and I was like, yup, I remember Umbrella coming out and all these songs that really changed pop music in a huge way. Yep. So it was exciting. I really liked it.
Yeah, and I liked no guests. I liked that it was just simple. It wasn't like about, they were all dressed in like big, whatever, monochrome winter outfits. I think I saw it was like 78 degrees there. They're all wearing those like parkas and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it was cool, man. Yeah, I don't like the camera flip thing. They started doing that in the past couple Super Bowl halftime shows where they do the full spin of the camera and you're watching on your TV like,
Yeah, but like you were saying though, in contrast to like last year where it was like these like.
Who was last year?
Last year was the whole 50
right.
Cent,
Dr.
Eminem,
Dre,
Dr. Dre, and all that stuff, which was cool. It was cool. But you know, I agree with you. I think just to keep it simple, boom, just one artist.
It worked
You
really
know,
well.
go through
And
all the hits.
I liked how she said, I might have a special guest. It's because she's pregnant again.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Yeah.
I like
very
that.
fun. Very fun.
I would also like to point out that viewership of the Super Bowl was like 11 million people, and then when Rihanna hit that stage, it went to 18 million people, and then when she was done, it went back to 11 million people. Rihanna's awesome. Music is awesome. Go music.
Yes, I agree.
Before we leave, down with Pepsi. Get a new sponsor. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down with Pepsi.
I have a personal grudge.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
So
down
do
with
I.
Pepsi.
As a disgruntled former employee.
Yeah,
Thank you.
as he wears the hat.
Am I wearing the
And-
wrong
and
hat?
they
Am
pro-
I wearing
they-
the Frito hat?
They
Yeah,
probably
you're
have
the
some
Frito
in your
Lay hat.
earnings in a 401k. You probably didn't pull out yet.
Oh, you're damn right.
Oh, you're damn right. We're Coca-Cola people.
Make
Yeah.
that portfolio work for me.
I mean, I know we're gonna end on that. I have one more thing,
Oh,
just
no.
real quick, rapid fire. Neil Young announces his first concert since
Who
before the
cares?
pandemic.
Oh,
Yeah, who
rock on,
cares?
Neil. I'm here for the rock on, Neil. Keep on rocking in the free world, Neil.
One more thing. Neil Young is
You
still
say
alive.
Neil
Who
Young?
cares?
It's an autism fundraiser in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh, you laid Jeff down with it.
Sorry, I
Jeff-
had to.
Jeff
I
usually
saw it
lays.
and I was like, "Here we go, baby. Let me
hey,
smack him down."
fundraisers. Neil Young. Who cares?
This dynamic
old.
usually is reversed. Mike's usually like, oh, and Neil's like, it was something very serious. And Mike's like, oh man.
Well, it's him and Steven Stills. They're headlining. So go Steven Stills. I'm a Steven Stills fan, but
you know,
what can you do? Neil Young, he's.
I love
you
it.
know.
I'm
Keep
down
doing your
with
art
Neil.
until the fucking wheels fall off.
Yeah, well,
Agreed.
they're falling off pretty hard. He's got a couple of flats. Anyway, yeah, let's wrap it up. We're gonna take a quick break. Then we'll come back with 2 new album reviews. All right, everybody, welcome back to Get in the Garage.
We're a music podcast.
For music lovers,
It is time
we
for
are
our-
the music podcast.
I'm
Oh,
so
did he
sorry.
say A?
I said A.
Oh, Luke, we've been over this so many times.
I
How
know.
dare you?
Rookie mistake. It's time for our 2 new album reviews, as we always do. This week, we are starting off.
With This Is Why, the 6th studio album from Paramore. Haley Williams and crew have whipped up another album for us. This is a kind of post-punky affair. They took a little hiatus from their 2013 album, and then they released their last album, After Laughter, in 2017, and we've had a little bit of a break since then. This is a more hard-hitting album. It is 32 minutes long. It is not very, 36 minutes long. It's not that, lengthy. So what did you guys think of this release?
You thought this was hard hitting?
I mean, I thought it was more hard-hitting for, like, Paramore compared to their 2013 release, where it was
Oh,
a
I
bit
didn't
more
listen to
poppy
that
and
one.
Yeah, I
R&B
didn't hear that one either.
flavored. I think this is more of a return to their classic-y, more emo form in a lot of ways.
I thought this was very grown-up sound. I'm used to the kind of that young anthem, hit you over the head, pop punk stuff in a good way. Hit you over the head. I found this album to be not like snoozy, but like it was a little bit more nuanced, we'll say. I loved a lot of the guitar sounds. I liked a lot of the sounds overall on this record.
Yeah, same here.
Not just the playing and the parts, but like the tones of the guitars and bass and the way they would layer the vocals and put distortions and filters on. Yeah, I thought it was solid. I haven't listened to Paramore since that, whatever the album is, it called Riot, that has all like the graffiti letters all over it,
Correct.
which had like 4 or 5 hits on it. It's never been a band I've been into, but Haley Williams still sounds good.
Yeah, I think she sounds great, and I really did enjoy this album too. Same, likewise with Jeff too. As far as Paramore goes, it's like I know the hits. My wife loves Paramore. Haley Williams has a great NPR Tiny Desk concert that gets played sort of regularly in my house as well. She's got the chops, man. I mean, she sounds really, really good. She performed, forget which song it was, on the Jimmy Kimmel Show more recently, too. It was with a couple of other people playing in the band. It wasn't just the trio as it is on the album
That
itself.
song was Running Out of Time.
Thank you very much. Great performance. I mean, she sounds great. I give it to her, and as well as like Jeff said, a pretty grown up sound, I would say. Great. I love the bass tone on here. Just the production overall, I found to be really, really good. not crazy blown out. Not, you know, it wasn't this sort of like everything's jacked up to 11 the entire time. You have like these sort of ups and downs, and and lyric wise as well, like the content and everything, I thought was very, very good. The News, that song was cool. This Is Why I thought was a great album opener and kind of setting the tone for the entirety of the record as well. It's much more like introspective sort of idea that kind of float around here. There's revenge on here. There's sort of like I don't know, self-destruction, sort of self-loathing that's in there too. I know that Hayley Williams kind of tried to find a nuanced way to sort of address some of the, you know, things that she was accused of / brought to court for sorts of things, and she kind of tried to take like some ownership of that stuff and sort of address it in song form. I thought she was really successful in doing that.
Yeah, this is, when I say like harder hitting, I mean more like it's more in the rock vein and sound as opposed to like the big kind of poppy thing they were going for that was a bit more R&B influenced. And it takes what they originally kind of started with, like Jeff said, with like Riot and things like that, and it really takes a twist of that and like brings a lot of different influences into that original sound, and I think really morphs into what we have here, which is a pretty mature, grown into record. There's a lot of like cool things that are happening on here that really haven't happened on like a Paramore record. There's the spoken word stuff on here that is like really, really cool in songs like The News, and I think the other one is You First, but I'll have to look that up. But the spoken word stuff where she's like talking like I'm off caffeine of doctor's orders, those kind of lines in here are really like giving me a lot of who Hayley Williams is at this moment, including the title track in Oprah, This Is Why. It really takes her and where she is, and like she's like, I don't want to leave the house because of all these things that are going on in the world. And I think it's really a growing with her audience, where like we're all like 30 years old. I was in high school in 8th grade when all those things were kind of coming out, and it seems like this is grown with us. This is something I can listen to now and be like, oh yes, I do. I feel these same things. And like Mike said too, the nuance in the record where it's not all kind of the same tone coming at you. Songs like Big Man, Little Dignity that have really lush and beautiful keyboard sounds. There's also some like little like flute-y noises coming in at some point on the keyboards, which I think is really cool. All those things I think make this a really great modern rock record to listen to. It's very exciting and fun and has a lot of good nuance in it. And when I say exciting and fun, I mean like to the ears to listen to. It has some serious serious spots in it about like, things that are going on in her life that might be a little bit like chaotic, but it also has moments of brevity that are lighter and fun. The brevity moments, let me shout out before, Running Out of Time, where she's kind of poking fun of herself, where she's always running late and all these things that she can't do. And I think it's those kind of things that give the more serious moments on the album, like Thick Skull, the album closer, their really poignant effect, because you have this kind of light and then that, and then the spoken word. It's very artsy. I liked this record.
Yeah, I liked some songs. I liked You First a lot. I thought that was sonically interesting, melodically interesting. I love the textures of all the different instruments and the interplay of how each new verse and chorus would add things in a different way. This Is Why it was a good album opener. I really like the song Figure 8, which has a lot of like clockwork, like naughty rhythms, like the drums is doing one thing chopped against bass doing one thing, doing guitar against, and it was just very like all fit together. Is Hayley Williams the best or on the short list of best female rock singers of our generation?
I think so. The pipes on this album were really good. Like some of the melodic lines she was hitting in the choruses were like, if you were to just kind of like think about them, you'd sing them kind of more straight. And she's really angling up on the end of phrases and really giving you this interesting vocal, which is really, I think, the emo kind of vocal. It's very expressive, and I think she kind of takes all of that. I think she's a very good singer.
Yeah, Figure 8. I mean, that's my favorite chorus on the whole album, I think, And there is some really good vocal performances on here, and it doesn't ever seem like there's really much of any studio trickery happening. It sounds like it's pretty much just all her. I don't think I'm sure I don't think you can really get around it. There's tampering with vocals at every album now. That's just like the name of the game, you know what I mean?
But the creative lines and her singing power is definitely, you can definitely hear it. It's very, very evident.
And she doesn't, on this album, she doesn't do a lot of that like edge of scream yelling type singing like she used to 10, 15 years ago. But I thought it was very effortlessly well done. Alex, what is your view on Paramore being a band that kind of peak popularity was when you were very young?
Yeah, I like Paramore quite a bit. I thought this album was pretty good. It didn't do as well as I thought it did on like a lot of other platforms. Like other reviewers didn't think of it as highly, and I was like, wow, this kind of took me by surprise because I did listen to Paramore a lot in high school and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think it vibes well with their original sound?
A little bit, yeah. It's close, but you can tell it's a little aged.
Do you think?
A little aged.
Do you think that some of the more hardcore Paramore fans are more reluctant to go with them on their adventure? Like, say, a record we covered a couple months ago, Arctic Monkeys, "The Car."
Yeah.
But to me, though, this is me. I don't think their sound has changed that much. I just think it's matured into
That's what I would say.
how they would play that kind of music now, being the age they are now.
Yeah, they're just older, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys, especially Jeff over here, especially on the title track, "This Is Why." Did you get any Can influence on the drumming and the way that the kind of percussion loopy stuff started in there?
Yeah, So I liked that song because right off the top, it had that cool drum groove. But then within like 11 seconds, it shifts to the actual song. And they never brought back that first thing. So I didn't know. I looked at the liner notes. I don't think it was a sample of anything, but I don't know. I kind of wish that the song had stayed in that kind of, like you're saying, that kind of like a loose but motoring type of propulsive beat. It kind of like just like hard left turns into another very interesting drum beat, but that motoric thing, that propulsive, that energetic, static energy type of thing. So yeah, that first 10 seconds, that's my favorite part of the album.
I fully agree.
I was like, oh shit, what a way to kick off an album. Oh, it's a different song now.
Yeah, this kind of kicks into like the regular beat. What did you guys think a Figure 8 song we've been talking about that had that crazy jazz ending where it turns into like hot noise?
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, if you guys are touching on it, because you guys are like flavoring in these like little bit of Can in the beginning of the song. In the bridge, you'll bring in a little bit of like Talking Heads or Wire influence in.
Right.
And this is the stuff that's making this record really, really arty and really, really great. And I really like next one. Whomp, go in on it, man. Make like a jazz freak out in the middle of a song. Like really get there with it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what comes next for this band. I mean, to put it into perspective, she was born in 1988, so she's the same age as Jeff. And I think likewise, Taylor and
drummers
Zach,
90, guitar players 89. They're all
they're
about
all
35
like
years
about
old.
30. Yeah, between 30 and 35 years old. So yeah, I mean, a lot of maturing to do. There's still, they still have some time to do some interesting things. So I'm excited to see what comes next for Paramore, because they, this even with this album too, and I think, touring now or like playing out now and stuff like that too. I did watch a brief bit of an interview where they spoke at Apple Music. I can't remember that guy's name. Who's that guy that always does the Apple Music?
Lowe.
Yes, thank you. And they had mentioned that they have been seeing a lot of new faces and stuff. So I think this is an exciting moment for Paramore, because I think that with this album too, they may earn themselves like some new fans. And I think regardless, as a band moves on and like matures, like Luke was saying, that maybe it does isolate some older school, maybe like some more hardcore fans and stuff too. But I mean, I can say that based off of this album, and before this point, listening to this album, being very much a novice when it comes to Paramore, I like this album. I could consider myself a Paramore fan based off of listening to this one record. So I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yeah. So ratings,
Jeffrey.
shall we go?
7. I want to give it a 7.5, but the last like 4 tracks kind of got a little too, I don't know.
Yeah.
too floaty, too wishy-washy, too downery to end the tracks. Maybe that's what they're going for, and maybe I just need to listen to it a few more times. But it's a 7.5.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Pitchfork style. I'm gonna go 7-8. Strong album, man. Strong album. I can't wait to see what happens next.
I'm going to bring this up to an 8 because I found myself while it was playing really enjoying it more than like I kind of like my ego would want to maybe like let myself a little bit. So I'm going to give it an 8. I liked this record a lot. I think this shows that Paramore is a band that can make any kind of record they want. They can make a big pop record if they feel like it. They make a throwback emo record. They made an acoustic record. It'd be interesting and cool. I think Haley Williams is a very, very talented person, and I think this band is capable of doing a lot of things, and I'm very excited to see the next release.
I hope they find a bass player.
Me too.
True.
But also, I was thinking they might not have a bass player because when you have a fourth member in a band, then any voting on anything can become stalemated.
It can.
So maybe it's just easier to have 3 people.
Yeah.
Before we really, really go, though, I'm going to say this. Haley Williams, just, like, be Paramore. Like, finally. Like, Soccer Mommy is one person. Bully is one person. Snail Mail is one person. Paramore, I'd be really cool if it was just one person.
Yeah, but the original drummer's back.
I know, but, like, who cares?
What he said.
That's what I feel about it.
Luke and I have had extensive conversations on the inside baseball side of the Paramore story.
Yo, can you imagine?
Very interesting. Look it
a
up
lot
if
of
you,
legal
if you
drama.
don't
Can you
know.
imagine leaving a band after like a 4th album, a huge fame, and you're 20 years old? That's how old that drummer was when he left the band after being in the band for like 6 years. He was only 20. But he's been back for like 7-8 years now.
Can I further state, could you imagine starting a band with your own brother and then you both leave the band together?
But then you go
and
back.
then you go back and your brother doesn't go back? That must be an awkward ass Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Guess
Anyway,
who's not playing VFWs anymore, motherfucker.
Anyway, let us know what you think. Did you like the Paramore album? Did you not like it? Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? Why? Let us know in the comments below.
Let us know.
Let us know.
Below. The next album we're reviewing is an album called This Stupid World. It is by the band Yo La Tengo. It is their 17th album. This is a trio. It's built around a husband and a wife and a bass player as the third member. I'm not going to look up names. We don't fact check here. The band, as this current trio, has been in existence for just over 30 years. The band itself was around, I think, 7 years before the bass player joined in 1992. And this is their 17th album, 9 tracks, 49 minutes, produced by the band, by the 3 of them in their own home studio setup. Yo La Tengo is one of those critics' choice type of favorite band. I had zero in experience with Yo La Tengo before listening to this album. I mean, I probably caught a stray track here or there, I assume, but I always had them on my list of like, oh yeah, I'll get into that band at some point. I never did. But I thought this album was really cool, especially like considering these are 3 people who are all between the ages of like 55 and 65. Like, it sounds so effortlessly cool, and it has that like, just they're doing their thing, man. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing here. I've never heard of them before. You know, they're from Hoboken, baby, the New Jersey zone, you know. So,
joking.
you know, go USA bands. Yeah, they've been around since 1984, which I thought was pretty crazy. The lineup is Ira Kaplan, Georgia Hubley, and James McNew. Same here. I mean, it's I mean, I love drone, I love all that kind of stuff. Everything that's sort of peppered in on here is great. I think the album is paced very well. There's a lot of tension and release on this album, but it's not in the way that you would get it where it's like tension and release on one song. It's tension and release kind of over songs, plural, which I thought was cool. I love the I like the way the whole album played out.
Yeah, this is I'm with Jeff on this one, and I kind of picked this album to review here as an opportunity to maybe get into this band or not get into this band. 17th album is a weird place to start, but here we are. And
they say their 16th is their best.
They say their 16th is their best. This is the album I didn't know what this band was even going to sound like, but I put it on and I fell in love with this record. This is an album that's kind of tailor-made for my sensibilities. like you guys mentioned, it's heavy on that like drone groove, but it's not so, and it's distorty and noisy, but not in an aggressive way that's like, I can't take any more of this. It's more droney in like a sound bath and has a lot of funky, great rhythms in there. Also to be noted, there's some great like acousticy, slowed down, really beautiful pieces on here, or at least one. And there's a a lot of vocals about living a normal life in our modern society and how you're viewing it in the way they view it. I think they gave a lot of themselves on this record. I really, really like this kind of fuzz drone that's not aggressive. I think that's really, really interesting.
Yeah, I think Georgia Hubley too. She's the drummer for the band. I mean, talk about like just playing in service of the song, nothing flashy, nothing crazy, holding it down the entire time. I love the use of feedback throughout this whole record, and even when you are getting that sort of like really drony, noisy, Siri kind of thing, I'm just like a real sucker for the kind of like soft sort of way of singing over what
It's
is
NPR
very,
singing.
yeah, it's like it's just so cool. I just thought this record was so amazing.
Apology Letter, I thought, was a great use of that like talk singy, like really like
Yeah.
where he's
That was kind of funky song.
explaining like an argument or about like who you are in the argument and how you behave, and it's the apology letter to the significant other, I would believe, and it's very very self-effacing and kind of very like, oh, that's pretty vulnerable of you to come out like that. And I just really like the nature of that kind of song. Another thing I kind of really liked on here was with that same style, and I believe it was the same singer, Tonight's Episode, the song where he goes through and like names all the yo-yo tricks he can do, which made, like, for me, that's the kind of like musical thing I am after on like that I really love lyrically. It's funny in a way that's referencing something else that's probably more serious beforehand, and then goes to yo-yo tricks and references like Land of a Thousand Dances, another song where he's like, I can walk the dog, and the band goes, walk the dog, and he's like doing all the Land of a Thousand Dances but with yo-yo tricks, that kind of thing. It's like it's in and in and in on layers and masks the seriousness of something. For me, that's a little like too much on it, but that's why I like this record. It's things like that. I think it's really well done.
Yeah, this is I wouldn't say this is a rock album, but it's like a rockin' album. Like it's a slow boil of kind of things are kind of a little dirty, a little grimy, a little heavy, but not hard hitting.
Yeah.
Like nothing is coming at you on like amps on 11. But things do have some edge and some weirdness, like the album opener, which is Sinatra Drive Breakdown, which is basically like a static locked in groove. And then it's the 2-part harmony vocals the whole time. And it's kind of like just guitar weirdness.
Yeah.
All over it. Like they sing, and then it's like, we say like a noise solo. I don't mean noise. I mean like just strange, atonally jazzy weirdness. But yeah, I really enjoyed this a lot. The textures are very cool. This just sounds like a band that's like so comfortable. Like, yeah, we write our songs and we play them the way we hear them, and everything is like the best kind of I want to say mood like background music, but not in a like forgettable, dismissive, don't listen to it kind of way. But more of like you get home from work, throw this record on, go about your house, put away your stuff, cook dinner. Like you can lock into it. It's a great headphone record, but it's also like just great. Just throw it on and just have it in the back of conversation even. Cause I don't know. I just thought it was like cool. Like a bunch of cool old people doing cool ass music. I don't know.
It really was. And I wanted to also kind of shout out a little bit. I think thematically this has something or a lot to do with what Hayley Williams was actually talking and singing about on her record with Paramore. But the Paramore record is done in a more poppy, emo-y, modern rock way, and this is like the cool indie salad side of it. You know what I mean? It's the more underground of that same kind of sentiment of like what because
Just living your life is
living your life and what's in the times we're living in, and I thought that was interesting. Also, let's shout out the title track on here, The Times That We're Living In, This Shitty World, which is a real build, mostly kind of like builds into this noise piece, but it's, again, not abrasive. It's more of like a wonderful sound bath of guitars and breathes into the sentiment that this is how we're going to survive. This is how we live. This is how I behave in this shitty world. So I think that then the sentiment, too, of the not shitty, but this stupid world, and the sentiment of this stupid world, and that kind of, again, like the same flavor I was giving you before, seriousness, and then kind of being like, this stupid world, which is kind of like a way to throw it off, but also being pretty serious about it. That, for me, is like the pinnacle of like what you're trying to do, and it's juxtapositioned on the background of this building noise track, and it's this stupid world, and it's got all this stuff in it, and I think there's like a lot of nuance in here and a lot of great artistic bends and twists that kept me exciting and looking for, well, what does he mean by that? What is this going on? What is this? And I really liked it. And then some things were really obvious and up to the face about it.
Yeah, and I also enjoyed how you get sort of this, you get both sides of the coin in every song, in the way that you get, you have that sort of locked in groove and everything, and then you have that noise, and then just kind of like very, very sort of like peppered in there, you just have like this really sweet sort of acoustic kind of stuff just kind of like sprinkled on top of everything, I mean, I saw it, the first track, the Sinatra Drive breakdown, I'm like, track 1 is over 7 minutes long. Yep, I'm in.
Yeah, that's half the album, I think.
And then
long tracks.
And then Fallout, which is a great track too. That's super. That was giving me, not that I'm like a really big Sonic Youth guy, but that was giving me Sonic Youth vibes. It
sounds like Dirty Boots, right?
You know, and especially Fallout. Even in my notes, I wrote Luke song 100%. I mean, this album, immediately I was like, oh, Luke is going to love this record. This is a Luke record all day long. And I did love that pacing, because it's like you get the Sinatra Drive breakdown, you get Fallout. Tonight's episode, musically what's going on, it builds a little tension because you have like this sort of like descending sort of like line kind of thing going on. And then a Celestine, I think that's the first song. That's the first song by sung by Georgia, and I was like, "Oh, thank you so much," because it's like, here we go, a nice, pretty, beautiful song. It's only 3 minutes and 50 seconds long. I think it's the second shortest song on the album. Absolutely beautiful. I love both of the songs that she sings, because I think she comes back on Miles Away, the closing track. And sings on that one after the This Stupid World track, which is that sort of like super noisy, kind of like staticky sort of thing going on. But yeah, great album.
Yeah, I'm looking forward into the more of the catalog. Yes, Alex.
They are currently signed to Matador Records.
Yeah,
the big indie.
Yep. So they have quite a few big indie artists that are live with them right now. A lot of Queens of the Stone Age, Snail Mail, Horse Girl, King Cruel. Who's the other one that I had seen?
Also home of Pavement, Matador.
Car Seat Headrest.
Yep.
And Matador Records also famously had Sonic Youth.
Yep.
So there you go. There you get some of that sound probably originating.
Yeah. And I mean, to be doing it since what year was it? 1984. I mean, you kind of, it's like, like Jeff said, it's very clear that they are super comfortable in a room together. Just doing what they know how to do best. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm now gonna finally get into their music.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I'm sold.
I enjoy this.
I'm sold. You have 16 other albums to look into, so there you go. There's plenty.
For a rating, I enjoyed this a lot, and I'm saying it's an 8. It's possibly an 8.5 the more I listen to it.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to agree right there with Jeff too. I'm gonna say this is a solid 8, but I can see myself falling in love. Even deeper love with this record, and I'm very excited to dive deeper into their discography. So there you go, 8 from me.
Okay, before I give my score here, I'm going to ask, YOLO Tango, is Brain Capers a reference to the Mott the Hoople album? I must know. It's been bugging me all week. Wanted to get it off my chest before I gave my number. I'm going to give my first perfect score in this podcast. This is a 10
Oh
for
my
me.
God.
This is a 10 out of 10. I think
Whoa!
I knew
What
it.
a
I knew.
moment.
I'm telling
A
you. I
10?
heard. I'm like, this is Luke all day long.
Wow.
And you know how I know this is Luke? Because when Luke and I
'Cause he's
drive
wearing
into
a
work,
red flannel shirt right
no,
now.
because
That's
whenever
why.
Luke and I
His
drive
red
into
flannel
work,
music.
Luke and I drive into work every single morning, and whenever we have, we always have these new album reviews we
Oh,
have to
this-
listen to and stuff like that, and we almost never listen to the albums
Yeah.
that we have to listen to in preparation for this podcast.
So
and
Gaucho got the boot.
and Gaucho.
the Gaucho's been out to
Gaucho.
pasture for a while.
He's back at the ranch. So yeah, I knew it. That's how I
10.
knew. I was like, oh,
Wow.
Luke is in love with this record. We
10.
listen to it like every morning this
It's on
week.
the short list.
Yeah.
We've only each given a couple tens. This is your first 10?
This is
you
my
think?
first 10. I've never given
Have
a
I
10.
given a 10? I don't know if I've given a 10.
I've never
I
given
thought
a 10.
I had given a 10. Maybe I gave 9.5. Maybe our anniversary albums we've talked about.
Silk Sonic?
Maybe.
That
If-
might have been a 9.5. I don't know,
Yeah.
but maybe we'll have to go back into
Yeah, we'll have to go back and check.
into the back
This is
catalog.
Yeah,
this is
into
a
the
10,
vault.
guys.
Wow.
Do you think this is a 10? I
us
obviously
know.
this was like a very critically acclaimed record too, but man, I got no stake in liking this band. This is my first record, so this is someone that has never listened to literally anything else this band has put out, and
Yeah.
I think this is a 10. So that's where I stand on it. I love it.
Well, there you have it, folks.
There you
Let
have
us
it.
know what you think. Put it in the comments below. Is it a 10? Is it an 8?
I'm
is
a
it
10.
5? Who knows? Is it for you? Nobody knows. You should know. Give it a listen. Let us know. That about does it this week. As we always do when we finish. Remember, like and comment and subscribe. Tell a dog owner. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Share the podcast with everybody you know and love. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes if you can, if that's where you listen. If not, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff.
It's on the YouTubes.
It's on the YouTubes. So we'll see you next week, guys.